Trap University. Let's get straight to it.
Little pimp.
Yeah, Joe.
Yeah, well, not Joe, but yeah, you.
Yeah.
Just friends, just friends. Good man.
Maybe you are the next Lil Wayne, but probably not.
Why did Donald Trump pardon NBA YoungBoy? Is he a YB fan? Or is it the Mormons? Donald Trump is the only president to grant
YB pardon NBA YoungBoy? What the fuck, yo?
any form of clemency to a rapper. And we've only had 7 presidents since hip-hop was created, and I doubt George Herbert Walker Bush was a fan. I remember when Joe Biden got on the stand and played Despacito from his phone, but does that mean he's a reggaeton fan? Seriously though, why did Donald Trump pardon Lil Wayne, Kodak Black, and NBA YoungBoy? First, what is a White House pardon czar? Well, it's a position created by Donald Trump to have someone oversee, well, pardons. And the position didn't exist during his first term when he pardoned Kodak and Lil Wayne, but he created it in 2025, and it's actually headed by a woman who Donald Trump pardoned in 2018. The woman in question was given life without parole for drug trafficking, which is crazy work when we have killers sentenced to less time, but this was in the 90s, and she initially applied for clemency under the Obama administration, but keeping with his track record of what happens when people ask him for a pardon, he said no. He did pardon some people though, but historically, presidential pardons have mostly been granted to people who were convicted of some type of financial crime. Mostly politicians like taking bribes, wire fraud, false bank statements, a few people convicted of drug offenses, and of course family members. As in Joe Biden's last 20 minutes in office, he pardoned his son, his 2 brothers, and their wives. Now I know I joked about YB and the Mormons, but it's not like Trump is trying to go after some voter base by granting these pardons. You only get to serve 2 terms as president, only FDR served more. So he's not doing this to get reelected, because he can't. He could, however, run for,
How did FDR serve more?
let's say, mayor or even governor of New York, and he may not be popular with some people in New York, but he still is a New Yorker at the end of the day, and there's a lot of New Yorkers that support him, especially in upstate New York, probably. But one thing a politician needs is funding. Now, I don't know how much Lil Pump or Kodak Black can provide, but maybe someone like Ye could provide a substantial donation. Well, turns out no. I mean, he allegedly is a billionaire, but when he supported Hillary Clinton, he gave her a $2,700 donation. He supported Barack Obama with a huge $1,000 donation, and there is no records to indicate that he ever donated anything to Donald Trump. And honestly, this is probably why someone like Elon Musk is allowed in the White House to work, I guess, but this still doesn't explain anything. Now, Republican or Democrat, it's hard for me to believe that any politician can view an entertainer as anything other than a tool that can be used to gain some type of influence or donation. And honestly, these pardons are just as confusing as Kamala inviting Cardi B to the convention. Who is this for? These candidates
This is where I paused the video, got something to say, but I ain't got nothing to say.
already have a voter base. It's not like that's really going to change. The people that vote Democrat are going to vote Democrat no matter who you pay to speak for you. And it's the same with the people that vote Republican. Whether it's pardoning a rapper or deporting immigrants, the people that vote Republican are going to vote that way regardless. So it has to be something deeper that we're just not seeing on the surface level. Now, YB did state in 2023 that he was going to be baptized into the LDS church.
Alright, now let's do something here. Isa
aka the Mormons, and the Mormons have a lot of money, and they do provide funding for projects they like. But most of their influence is mostly centered in Utah. But don't get me wrong, their influence does extend all over the globe, as you can find LDS churches from Serbia to Japan, and many other countries. But YB also stated once that he was going to become Muslim, so we'll come back to this. Now, in the past, YoungBoy didn't exactly provide the best publicity for Trump, as he even got involved in a shootout in front of the Trump Tower in Miami back in 2019. He was even saying F Donald Trump back in 2017, so I know DT has probably never
Not gonna lie, this nigga need to be locked up forever and just let me start rapping.
listen to this man's music. Although from 2016 to 2017, it was kind of a trend to either diss Donald Trump or support him in music for some reason, as even Kodak Black, before his presidential pardon, also joined this wave and was featured on a song called Spar, which was an actual diss track aimed at Donald Trump. And this was probably just a clout move. I just cannot see a group of rappers actually going in the studio to express their political beliefs to spread some kind of message. This was most likely just for views. But once again, has Trump even heard this song? Anyway, the first real lead I had for an actual reason behind these pardons was a guy named Brett Barish. Now, Barish is the CEO of Sovereign Spirits, which is a wine and spirits company whose corporate headquarters sits on Broadway in Manhattan, about 15 to 20 minutes away from Trump Tower. Now, the White House states that the possibility of Wayne's pardon was brought to the president by Brett Barish, and Brett owns the Boom Boo rum, I think that's how you say it, and Lil Wayne has had some type of partnership promoting this rum since at least 2018, which probably contributed to Brett asking Donald Trump to pardon him. Kodak Black,
Not gonna lie, I ain't watching all this, but this was a mic test. Mic test 1 2 1 2. Bet that up, dog.